And I then applied for a job at the British Journal of Photography as a photographer for EMI Records. And I got it at 18 years old as EMI's in-house photographer. 68, 67. The negs were owned by EMI, and in those days we never knew about like what was going to go on, because, you know, I mean, I did the first photo shoot of Gilmour joining Pink Floyd, and the first photo shoot of Deep Purple when Glover and Gillan joined them in 1968 when EMI launched Harvest, you know. And you know, the first photo shoot, I did one photograph, I can't remember what cover, but I'd only been there 2 days and I had to take photographs of Cliff Richard. And in '67 he was the biggest rock star in the UK, and he was great. I still think he's the nicest man in the world, him in the Shadows. And like, he signed one of my photographs for my mum, because I had to Lily, and she put it on. She was in the fact working in as a tailoress. So her son took a photograph of Cliff Richard, and Cliff signed it to Lily with "Love, Cliff." So I was a hero. I was my mum's hero. Because of that, I mean, I got to know everybody. EMI, while I was there, Radio 1 started, and EMI sort of like, well, all the DJs just come to EMI. Obviously, I'm sure Paola worked then, because I didn't know what the hell was going on, but all the DJs, Blackburns and the Ed, all that, coming in, and I did the first Radio 1 calendar, because they all talked to me, and that's how I got to know all the DJs and the producers, Johnny Bearding and all that, and they asked me, and so it was fun. And how did I end up in the promotion game? Well, I left EMI because I got frustrated at what I was doing. They were outsourcing a lot of the good creative stuff in the end to a company called Hypnosis that was doing all the Floyd catalogue album covers, and the Beatles had their own photographer and all this and that. And I bummed around Europe and ended up in Australia with the then EMI's ex-MD, Ken and Dolly East. They said, come to Australia, and I thought, why not? And I went to Australia, made a lot of money, but absolutely hated being in Australia. This is like 1971, 72. It's the end of the world then. You only had a phone. You didn't have nothing else to phone up people and talk at 5 o'clock in the morning to someone in London, you know. So I came back and I went broke. Ended up doing photographs of bands at the Marquee or the Speakeasy at midnight for 30 quid. And I was just talking to people, and a guy at the time who used to run Music Week, Philip Parker, or I think Dooley, turned around and said, you know everybody in the music industry, you'll be good at promotion. So he just put a little thing in, teaser in Dooley, saying ex-EMI photographer Allan James, back from Australia, is looking for a job in the music industry. And I got offered 2 jobs overnight. One was for Polydor, and they were offering me the Rubettes, the Osmonds, and a few other bands like that. And the other one was for ABC with a new band called Steely Dan, and a guitarist called Joe Walsh, and an act called Rufus with a lead singer called Chaka Khan. And they had a catalogue of Three Dog Night and the Mamas and Papas and stuff. So I think I went with ABC, and that was how I got in it. And so the first record I plugged was Do It Again by Steely Dan, that I can talk about, or willing to talk about.